Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. The holy month of Ramadan is upon us, and this is the perfect opportunity for all of us to explore our spirituality and learn about our faith. And with that, we bring you Nashr-e-Ramadhan from MTA International Canada Studios. We're going to be looking at the life of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how he spent his days in Ramadan, and also the teachings that he inculcated in his companions and what they took away from him.
इसके अलावा हम कनाडा के एक दूर दराज शहर में जाएंगे, एक नई डिश भी मुतारफ़ कराएंगे और बहुत सारी इंटरेक्टिव डिस्कशंस भी होंगी। आपका होस्ट ताहिर अहमद
And I'm Farooq Tahir.
आइए प्रोग्राम का आगाज़ करते हैं।
रूहों में उतरती है सदा मुहिम हक के, अल्लाह से बंदे को मिला देते हैं रोज़े।
The best way to understand how to spend our days in Ramadan is to look at the life of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one among us who spent Ramadan the best. And so we have with us in the studio Murabbi MTA Sahib. And Murabbi Sahib, I want to get right into our discussion. We're trying to figure out how to spend our days most productively and to look at the example of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and how he spent his days in Ramadan. So if you want to get into what he did on a daily basis.
Absolutely. The Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ lived the Quran, as Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha said, Kana khuluquhul Quran. So the best way to learn from is the example of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And before we even talk about how he conducted himself during the month of Ramadan, it's important to note how he prepared himself for the month of Ramadan. When we go to gym, we spend a little bit of time in warming up.
Yep.
This is exactly what Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did. So he would pray to Allah the Almighty before the month of Ramadan approaches. He would pray, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajabin wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. Oh Allah, bless the Rajab, month of Rajab and Sha'ban for us and allow us to reach Ramadan. And then when Sha'ban would come, he would just fast during the month of Sha'ban. So, he's preparing his body and mentally he's getting ready for the month of Ramadan as well. Yeah. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha narrates something really interesting. She says the number of fasts that the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ kept in the month of Sha'ban, he never kept in any other months. So he would keep fast during other months, but the number would be very high.
Right before Ramadan.
Right before Ramadan.
This sort of reminds me of the way marathon runners, they're at the height of their athleticism. And despite being really athletic, despite being really healthy, they don't want to shock their bodies right all of a sudden. And so before a marathon, what they're doing is they're spending those months there training and getting their bodies used to that. And so the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ramadan is essentially a spiritual marathon, right? We're taking our spirituality and trying to exceed the bounds of our spirituality. And so that's what he would do. He would prepare,
yes.
and spend those months preceding Ramadan in prayer and in preparation and fasting, like you mentioned.
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did was that he made sure when he's ready, as soon as the month of Ramadan hits, the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ just took it to the highest level, and he said, he would wake up really early in the morning, offer tahajjud prayer. It is reported that he would offer 11 rakats, 8 nawafil, 3 witr. Many times he did that, and sometimes he also offered it after Isha. Mm-hmm. So that's where you get the Taraweeh from, yeah. Right? So the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, extensive time in worship of Allah the Almighty, and then he would have suhoor with his family. And after suhoor, he would go for Fajr prayer. After Fajr prayer, he would offer, recite the Holy Quran. A lot of emphasis on the recitation of the Holy Quran. Quran has a very strong connection with the month of Ramadan. Unzila fihi al-Quran, right?
Yep.
And then we see that in the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is also reported that Gabriel would descend and he would revise the Holy Quran with the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam every Ramadan. And the last Ramadan of the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he revised it twice.
Yeah.
So a lot of emphasis on the recitation of the Holy Quran.
And I think if we look at that routine of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it seems as though in the month of Ramadan especially, everything intensified. His worship intensified, his recitation of the Holy Quran, obviously he's revising it over and over, intensified. His advices to the people, his interactions with the people, his service to humanity as well. All of these things, the aspects of his life, they intensified a lot.
Yes, he would also engage his companions. He would create this whole environment of excitement, and he would tell them, keeping fast is important. It's, he would tell them the importance and significance of fasting. And he would also tell them, remaining hungry and thirsty, yes, it's part of keeping fast, but the real essence of Ramadan is to bring about a change in ourselves, a positive change in ourselves, and develop that connection with Allah the Almighty. That's what is really at the heart of Ramadan is.
Absolutely. So what he was doing was he was introspecting, so he was trying to improve himself as much as possible, and his example being the highest, right? Imagine that. And then being so humble as to improve yourself as much as possible. But he also created this environment around him where he was like, I want to bring everybody with me and with me on this journey. And I think there's this balance that we try to create in Islam between the rights that we owe to Allah, right, huququllah, and then the rights that we owe to the humanity, huququl ibad. Yes. So how did the Holy Prophet ﷺ balance this aspect of Islam in Ramadan?
This is one of the greatest features of the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the way he balanced himself. Many a times people just pray and focus on one thing. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, no, we can balance our lives. He made sure he's fulfilling the rights of Allah the Almighty by worshiping, by making sure he's keeping fast, by doing pilgrimage and all those things.
Yeah.
Then he is also making sure that he's spending time with family. He's making sure that he's training the companions, doing the things he needs to do, and then making sure the people in the society who are less fortunate, they should be taken care of. And he would emphasize a lot on charity. So that's how the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam laid emphasis on keeping a balanced life. That Islam is a religion that teaches us, the middle path. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad lived the middle path.
So, Jazakallah again, Murabbi Sahab, for giving us your time. Dear audience, we have a jam-packed program, as I mentioned. The kitchen has fired up as well, and we have a lot of interactive sessions coming up. But I wanted to go to my co-host, Dr. Tahir Sahab, and see what he's up to. So, Dr. Sahab.
जज़ाकल्लाह फ़ारूक साहब, आपकी जो डिस्कशन थी बहुत इंसाइटफुल थी. अब हम कनाडा के दूर दराज इलाके में चलते हैं, जहाँ मिलते हैं मुरब्बी सिलसिला अरसलान अहमद साहब से. अस्सलामु अलैकुम मुरब्बी साहब, क्या हाल है आपका, कहाँ पर हैं?
वालेकुम सलाम रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बिल्कुल ठीक. मेरी रिहाइश जो है वो न्यूफाउंडलैंड लैब्राडोर में, जो कनाडा का एक मशरक़ी तरीन सूबा है और अटलांटिक ओशन के ये किनारे पर वाक़ है, और दो इलाकों पर मुश्तमिल ये सूबा है. एक इसका जज़ीरा है न्यूफाउंडलैंड, जहाँ मेरी रिहाइश है, और दूसरा हिस्सा जो है वो लैब्राडोर कहलाता है, जो मेनलैंड के साथ लगता है.
तो इस जज़ीरे का मौसम कैसा होता है वहाँ पे?
यहाँ का मौसम सर्द है, लेकिन एक्सट्रीम उस वक़्त होता है जब हवाएं यहाँ पे बहुत हार्श हैं, और क्योंकि ओशन है, अटलांटिक ओशन की वजह से ठंडी हवाएं काफ़ी वेदर को हार्श कर देती हैं.
तो मुरब्बी साहब, इस हार्श वेदर में जमात की एक्टिविटीज़ कैसे आप कर रहे होते हैं?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह यहाँ पे अल्लाह ताला ने हमें जो है वो मस्जिद की नेमत से नवाजा है. तो जमात के जो प्रोग्राम्स हैं वो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बाकायदगी से होते हैं, और जो तबलीगी सरगर्मियाँ हैं उनमें फ्ली मार्केट और फ्लाई डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन और बोर्ड होल्डिंग्स ये सारे मसरूफियात होती हैं हमारी तबलीग की यहाँ पे.
तो मुरब्बी साहब, अब जैसा कि रमज़ान शुरू हो गया है, आपकी रमज़ान की क्या एक्टिविटीज़ होंगी?
हाँ जी, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह रमज़ान की एक्टिविटीज़ वही हैं कि मस्जिद अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अल्लाह ताला ने हमें दी है, तो यहाँ पे दुरूस और नमाज़ें, तरावियाँ, और इंशाल्लाह बाकी मेरे ख़्याल मसाजिद में तो डेली अफ्तारियाँ होती हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे क्योंकि लोग काफ़ी दूर दूर रहते हैं, तो इस वजह से हम हफ्तावार जो है वो मस्जिद में इज्तिमाई अफ्तारी भी उसके भी इंतज़ाम हम करते
तो
हैं.
आप हफ्तावार गैदरिंग वहाँ पे मस्जिद में करते रहेंगे?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
तो मुरब्बी साहब, ये बताएं कि क्योंकि ये नॉर्थ ईस्ट का इलाका बनता है, तो वहाँ का रोज़े का दुरानिया क्या है?
रोज़े का दौरानिया आजकल तो तकरीबन 12 साढ़े 12 घंटे का है.
तो और समर में कितना ड्यूरेशन चेंज होता है?
समर में तकरीबन ये चला जाता है 16 साढ़े 16 घंटे का रोज़ा हो जाता है हमारा।
मगर साहब, मैं आखिर में आपसे कुछ जानना चाहूँगा आपके शहर के हवाले से। ऐसे क्या अहम पॉइंट है वहाँ पे, ऐसे क्या सहाफ़ती मकामात हैं या ऐसी क्या अट्रैक्शंस हैं जिनके मुतालिक आप बताना चाहेंगे?
पूरा सूबा ही काफ़ी खूबसूरत और सैर व तफरीह के मकामात से भरपूर है। बात अगर शुरू की जाए तो केप स्पियर है, सिग्नल हिल है, ईस्ट कोस्ट ट्रेल है जो कि 300 किलोमीटर लंबी एक ये ट्रेल है जो 15 मुख्तलिफ मकामात पे मिलती है। और सिग्नल हिल की एक तारीख़ ये है कि जो पहला ट्रांस अटलांटिक वायरलेस सिग्नल रिसीव किया था वो यहाँ पे 1901 में मार्कोनी ने
रिसीव किया था।
रिसीव किया था। जी
जज़ाकल्लाह मुरब्बी साहब, आपसे बात करके बहुत खुशी हुई और काफ़ी न्यू चीज़ें जानने का मौका मिला। अब हम चलते हैं।
जी
फ़ारूक साहब कहाँ गए? फ़ारूक
जी,
साहब आप
Zahir
कहाँ
साहब,
हैं? अच्छा,
I'm in the
किचन
kitchen.
में। फ़ारूक साहब, किचन में क्या हो रहा है?
I'm here with Chef Ramel. Really happy to have you with us.
Thank you.
And I don't know about the audience, but I'm really excited to see what you have, what you're preparing for us. So if you can.
So today we're going to do beef and cheese empanada. Now, empanada is usually an Argentinian dish. Usually has, believe it or not, it has olives and raisins in the actual empanadas. But this time we're going to use ground beef, cheese, a little bit of spice in there. So what we have to do first and foremost is brown our beef. So we're going to take our beef, brown it. We're going to place a little bit of olive oil onto the pan. You're looking at roughly about a tablespoon or so.
Okay.
We're going to add our cilantro, or you could use coriander, whatever it is. It's the same thing. Don't tell anybody, but it's
Really?
the same
I
thing.
hear a lot of people
Yeah,
debating
exactly.
whether it's.
Is it the same thing? It's the same thing.
Okay.
Don't listen to those people.
All right.
Add our garlic that's minced. I'm using shallots. Now you can start smelling that.
Yes. A very good
For
combination.
me, there's nothing better than that smell of garlic and onions together. Now we're gonna take our ground beef. There's an 80-20 split of ground beef. Now
okay.
it's a lean ground beef, but I like a little bit of fat in there because
Okay.
that's where all the flavor is.
Yes,
Let's be
yes,
realistic. I don't
yeah,
care what
yeah.
anybody says. That's where all the flavor is. Now, always season your food. The one thing I always tell everybody is that you're not gonna get any flavor without any seasoning.
Yeah.
So, add a little bit of salt there.
Okay.
We can do this,
There
right?
you go, there you
There you go. And then we're gonna add a little bit of Cajun seasoning to this.
Very good.
The Cajun seasoning is about a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning. We just stir that around. All we want to do is get the beef browned off, right? Then we're gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire.
Yeah,
I can't say it either.
I don't think anybody
Forget-
can.
I don't think there's. I think we just made up the word,
Yeah.
and just to see how far somebody could actually
There
do
has
it.
to be an easier way to say it.
That sauce.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's
that
called that sauce. So we're browning it off,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna place a little bit of corn in there.
Okay. So, Chef, while you work, I'm just going to get Tahir Saab's opinion. Tahir Saab, what do you think about today's dish that's being
जी
prepared?
फ़ारूक साहब, एम्पनादास बन रहे हैं यहाँ पे और मैं नाज़रीन को बताता चलूँ कि इसके अंदर आपने देखा कि ग्राउंड बीफ के साथ इसको बना रहे हैं। इसमें कॉर्न्स भी हैं, इसके अंदर प्याज भी है, लेकिन इसकी आखिरी शेप क्या बनेगी उसका अभी हमें अंदाज़ा नहीं और वो हम देखेंगे कुछ देर के बाद।
So while you continue cooking, we're going to come back to you in the kitchen and we'll see what you have prepared. Audience, we're going to move on to our next segment, which is basically we're going to look at how to organize our day in Ramadan and how to create a proper schedule. And we have with us one of my dear brothers and colleagues, Fizan Qureshi Sahib, who is a graduate student in neuroscience. So Fizan Sahib, really nice to have you in the studio with us today.
Thank you very much.
What do you have prepared for us?
Yeah, so just because we're fasting, it doesn't mean that our various responsibilities are on pause. So because of this, we have to find a way to integrate our responsibilities into our daily routines. And for the purpose of this demonstration, I've divided them into 3 categories.
Okay.
So we have our academic or work obligations, as well as our religious obligations, and of course our physical obligations, because we do need to be physically fit in order to complete these all.
Okay.
And of course we have our 5 daily prayers, which we can use to actually structure and organize our whole timetable around.
Okay.
So
So, just for, as like an overview, you're basically going to structure the day around the 5 daily prayers.
That's right.
Right? Okay.
Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at how our entire day can be structured around them. So our first block would be for our Fajr Salat, in between Zohar Namaz, which is the next prayer. So because it's Ramadan, we're going to be fasting. So for that, we need to wake up particularly early and eat for suhoor. And then after that, after we offer our Fajr prayer, this is a great opportunity for us to recite the Holy Quran and reflect upon its meanings, which we can do for around 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then after that, if we need it, we can also take a quick nap for about an hour and a half, or whatever we need.
Perfect.
And after this, we can get started, because this part in the morning is actually when we're going to be most productive. So we have a solid 4 to 3 hours of time where we can section off and use as a study block.
Okay, interesting. Now, so you've dedicated 4 hours for whether you're studying or working, right? But when I was a student, I'm a student, I guess, learning every day, but I couldn't study for 4 hours straight. So how do we break that down to make it easier?
Yeah, for sure. Well, a lot of focus and concentration research has shown that 90-minute intervals are when we are at our most optimal for getting things done. Okay. So the way we can further break this down is we can also take breaks. So for example, after 45 minutes, we can take a 5-minute break. And then after every 90-minute interval, we can take a 15 to 20-minute break as well.
Okay, so what does that break look like? Is it like I'm not doing anything? If I envision break, I'm thinking just, maybe somebody's taking a rest on the couch, or, just being idle. So how does that break look like?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think it's really important to reduce screen time,
okay,
and to stay, just really refreshed as well. So a great opportunity for here is to get some fresh air, go for a light stroll, for example. And this is also a great time for us to engage in the remembrance of Allah, as well as sending durood to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay.
So afterwards, we have the time block between Zohar and Asr prayers. Okay. And here we can have a solid 3 to 4 hours, in which we can also squeeze in another study block or work block. And this way we'll have a solid 7 hours of work that we can get done. And then moving on to the evening, between Asr and Maghrib prayers, we have the opportunity to rest as well, because we have been pretty productive. So for example, we can watch MTA, and
watch Nashr-e-Ramadhan.
Of course, Nashr-e-Ramadhan. And then we can also watch things like Dars al-Quran from Hazrat Masih Rabi.
The bread and butter, right?
Of course, absolutely. And afterwards, we can also take another rest. We can take a quick cat nap. And after that, we can, if we really need to wrap some work up, for example, we can just take a small 90-minute interval to get some more work done. And right before we open our fast, this is a great time for us to get some exercise in. So we can take a 45-minute or 60-minute time to just get some light cardio in, or weight training, and with a focus here on it being maintenance. Because we're focusing on spiritual gains rather than physical gains during this period.
Yeah, and obviously you want to put that towards the end of the fast, right? Not in the beginning of the day.
Yeah, of course. You need to be able to replenish your electrolytes, for example.
Yeah.
So our final block of the day is between the Maghrib and Isha prayers. So here, often in the masjid, there are different Dars al-Qurans that are happening, so we can attend that, and then we can break our fast and offer the Maghrib prayer. And after this is a great time for us to rest and to eat with our families. And then after that, we also have a great opportunity to recite more of the Holy Quran and reflect more upon its meanings. And this also allows us to get closer to the goal of reciting one juz, or one part of the Holy Quran per day, so that we're able to complete a full round of recitation within the blessed month of Ramadan. And lastly, after Isha prayer, this is a great time for us to also offer our Taraweeh prayers, which is a staple for Ramadan for many of us.
Yeah.
And after we're completed with that, we can, of course, get to bed as soon as possible, because we do have an early day ahead of us as well.
Perfect. Yeah, and I love that the Quran recitation was, we started our day with that, we ended our day with that, and obviously we're reciting the Quran throughout the day. And then obviously, if we look at, we've been speaking about the life of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his blessed example was that soon after Isha prayers, he wouldn't, sometimes we have some downtime after, but soon after Isha prayers, he would go to sleep, so that he had that opportunity to rest and then wake up early in the morning for worship. Absolutely. Right? So I really appreciate the time that you've given, and I think I'm taking a lot away from this schedule. I'm going to definitely implement a lot of these things in my life to make, I guess, my life more productive, especially in the month of Ramadan. So really appreciate your time. The audience, now we're going to be going to two sisters, Zaina and Inaya, and they're going to be showing us a project that we can all do as families in our homes during the month of Ramadan. So let's go take a look at that, and then we'll join you back in the studio.
Zina, what's going on? I'm the one with the cast, but it looks like your brain just ran a marathon.
Because it did. I have so much to do, buddy. My school assignments, my NASA homework, and on top of that, it's Ramadan. I want to go to the masjid to do the Tarawih with Baba and attend Dars, but I just don't know how to fit it all in.
That does sound overwhelming, and I know how it feels, but there's something that can help when things feel out of control.
Am I just about to stop time?
Not exactly, but close. There's something even better than a magic spell. Wanna guess? A schedule. Hazrat Khalif al-Masih V has often reminded us about the importance of setting our priorities and having a well-organized routine, especially in Ramadan. I have an idea. Let's make a calendar to help organize your schedule, and in the end, I have a surprise for you.
What's the surprise?
Be patient, you'll see in the end. Let's think about the ideal daily routine. Hazrat Anwar says that a balanced day should include Salat, Holy Quran, homework, physical activity, and helping at home.
And this Ramadan, we need to add Dars, Tarawih, praying dua, extra prayers.
Perfect. Let's add all these great ideas into your calendar.
Oh, this is so exciting, buddy.
First, we need our materials. To make this calendar, you'll need a Bristol board, a ruler, markers and pens, colored paper, a glue stick, and if you want to make it decorative, you could add decorative tape or stickers, or you can even paint it. The first step is to trace the masjid pattern on the top, and then we can write the title. What should the title be?
Ramadan 2025.
Okay, I already traced it and wrote the title beforehand, and we'll go over it in a Sharpie later. But right now, I want to show you how to make this squares. Take some of your colored paper, take a ruler. You're gonna make a rectangle 3 inches by 6 inches. Then you're gonna cut it out. You need 30 of these. Why do you think we need 30?
Because the 3rd is in the month.
That's right. Now, we're gonna fold this in half. You're gonna make 30 of these and glue them onto your board 30 times. But before we glue it, we have to write something on it. We're gonna write a 1. What does the 1 stand for?
Is it first day of Ramadan?
Yes. And over here, we're gonna write what we're gonna do. I'm gonna write dua. So you have to memorize a dua.
Okay, so it's kind of like a mission for me every day.
Yes. Now we can glue it on.
This is actually fun, and now I'll have something to guide me each day and manage my time.
Exactly. Speaking of time, did you know that there's one very special night in Ramadan called Laylatul Qadr, or Night of Power, which the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said was better than 1,000 months because of the extra blessings it contains? It didn't tell us the exact night, but he told us to look for it in the odd night of the last of Ramadan, so we can try extra hard to win Allah Ta'ala's pleasure during that time.
Inshallah.
And you remember that surprise?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Whoa.
That is so beautiful. I love the gems on it and the designs. This calendar actually makes me feel so much better, and now I can check my calendar and check what to do next.
That is the power of planning. Beloved Hazur said that time management helps us excel in both faith and in daily life. Now let's start small. What's your first task for today?
Praying Maghrib on time and then helping Ami with iftar.
That's right, let's go. And for all of you at home, remember to check out our social media account because we have a bunch of special activities that were made just for you. Ramadan Mubarak.
Allah Hafiz.
Jazakallah Inaya and Zaina for showing us that DIY calendar. I invite all the families at home watching to try that at home and see if that works for you. Chef, we're back in the kitchen.
How are you doing?
Yeah. So you want to take us through the process now? I see that we've browned the
We browned the ground beef and we
Yeah.
let it cool. You want to let it cool because if you place it into the puff pastry, what's
Yeah.
going to happen? You're going to have very soggy dough.
Okay.
You don't want that. You
Okay.
want a nice, crisp dough. So we already cooled it off. We're going to place a little bit of maybe about 2 tablespoons of this this beef mixture.
Okay.
Now it's up to you how big you want to make it, and also whether or not you want to bake it
Okay.
or you want to fry it.
Okay.
We're trying to be healthy
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we're actually gonna bake this one. We're adding a little cheese. This cheese actually is a nacho type of cheese.
Okay. Okay.
So it has that whole flavor of you
Yeah.
know the
That savory
Cajun,
flavor.
that savory flavor, that little bit of spice in there.
Perfect.
We're gonna add a little bit of egg wash to the edges.
Okay. And I see you're using a very specific tool here.
Yeah, so we're using this. It's a crimper for what you would do for empanadas.
Okay.
And all you have to do is place the stuff inside there, close it, press it.
Do you need muscles to press
Yeah,
this
you
on?
gotta press this. This is your workout for the day, actually. So you wanna press that. There you go. Look at that empanadas, and then you just
Beautiful.
trim off the sides there.
Wow.
Look at that, beautiful. Look at that beautiful empanada there.
There you go.
Now, if you don't have that and grab it, you just want to take your puff pastry dough, add a little bit of egg wash to the edges, add a little bit of meat. I know you also have a type of very similar process, which is your samosas, right?
Yes. Yes.
So samosas is very similar to this. This is just the Spanish version. And then, you know, if you're looking at something like Italian, then you're looking at, calzone
Okay,
or a panzerotti, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to take that, you want to place your finger, place
That's
your
it.
finger, and then what you're doing is just kind of crimping it.
Okay.
That way you have a little bit of edge there.
And that crust will be a little bit thicker, I guess. Right?
Exactly.
More
So
crispy on that.
yeah, and you want to make sure it's nicely sealed off. And there you go.
There you
Okay.
go.
It's not as nice as this because I don't have a crimper like this one here. So we're gonna place this on there, and we're gonna bake that at 350 for roughly about 20-25 minutes until it's nice and golden.
फारूक साहब इसको देख के तो ऐसे लगता है जिस तरह अभी बताया भी कि ये तो बड़ा समोसे के करीब तरीन चीज़ है
Yeah.
और इसको बनाने का तरीका भी बड़ा सिंपल है आपने देखा जब उन्होंने कीमा तैयार कर लिया उसको सिर्फ उन्होंने आटे की उसमें जो डो बनाई उसमें डाला और उसको इस टूल के साथ जो कि इसकी बड़ी अच्छी शेप दे रहा
जी।
तो ये देखने में तो बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है अब इसका जायका कैसा होगा वो हम रोज़े के बाद ही देख सकते हैं
Inshallah. And you know, we're gonna join the chef back in the kitchen. But before we come back and meet you in the studios, we're gonna go to the streets and we're talking about Ramadan and we're talking about how, you know, fasting has been prescribed in, you know, other religions of the world. So we'll be talking to the public and getting their insight onto what fasting is in their unique faiths. And then we'll meet you back in the studio.
I'm Christian.
We believe in Hindu.
We're Catholic.
I'm a Christian. And
I'm a Christian.
I'm a Hindu.
I'm from Sikh religion.
I'm a Sikh.
There's concept of fasting in our religion too. Fasting is getting closer to God. You know, when you fast, you sacrifice your food, and then you start meditating and to, you know, getting related to God and getting closer to Him. That's what fasting means in our religion.
As it is celebrated mostly among women, in the days we fast in the morning. Like married women will fast. They won't drink water even. They will. After the 3 days, they will have lunch.
We fast mainly around Easter time, just before the Easter holiday comes up, for the 40 days or 47 days. Basically, we cut out meats and dairy products and just reading the Bible more to get closer to God.
We don't really believe in fasting. We don't believe in self-depreciation.
There is no such faith and kind of fasting in my religion. We just follow the protocols that is given by our promoters.
And the concept of fasting in Christianity is abstaining from food, and we do fasting, but we do prayer and fasting. So you can't fast just to fast, right? Just to like starve yourself. You have to pray and fast.
And the concept of fasting is a full
3 to 7 day complete fast.
Well, it clears your mind, right? It gives you a chance to focus, it gives you a chance to think and reflect on the life that you're living and the things that you're doing.
The spiritual benefit is you get closer to God when you separate a vice like food. I mean, if you remove food from the equation, and heavily into prayer, you get closer to God because you're sacrificing the most common thing in your everyday for Him.
It purifies your body, and when you're fasting, the toxins they go out from your body.
When you do fasting, all you feel is that you're doing something for God, you're doing something for yourself, that you're paying proper attention for that. Rather, when you don't fast, you don't pay certain attention for your prayers.
वर्ड ऑन द स्ट्रीट में हमने लोगों की राय ली और जाना कि रोज़े उनके मज़ाहिब में कैसे हैं। अब हम मिलते हैं जामिया के प्रोफेसर मुकर्रम अब्दुल खान साहब से और उनसे जानते हैं कि रमज़ान की क्या फ़जीलत है, रमज़ान की क्या अहमियत है। रबी साहब
जी, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर साहब, रमज़ान तो अल्लाह ताला की एक बहुत बड़ी नेमत है, और अगर इसको मैं एक जुमले में बयान करूँ तो वो ये होगा कि रमज़ान एक रूहानी रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स है। सारे साल में मोमिन जो कुछ सीखते हैं हुकूकुल्लाह के बारे में, हुकूकुल इबाद के बारे में, अखलाक के बारे में, बातों के बारे में, इस रमज़ान में उनको कमाल तक पहुँचाया जाता है, क्योंकि रमज़ान इबादतों की मेराज है। हज़रत मुस्लिम मऊद रज़ी अल्लाह तआला अन्हु को अल्लाह ताला ने बताया कि रमज़ान सिर्फ 30 दिन के महीने का नाम नहीं है, यह तो नबियों का ज़माना है। इसलिए अल्लाह ताला ने तमाम नबियों और उनके मुत्तबईन को इस रमज़ान से गुजारा है, और ये एक रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स है। जिस तरह आज भी दुनिया की तमाम अच्छी कंपनियां सालाना रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स करती हैं ताकि लोग अपने स्किल बढ़ाएं, अपनी काबिलियतें बढ़ाएं, जामिद ना रहें, इसी तरह अल्लाह ताला ने मुसलमानों पर, और जैसे आपने दिखाया है कि वो स्टेट पर मुख्तलिफ़ लोगों के मज़ाहिब में रोज़ा फ़र्ज़ है, उन्होंने तो चेंज भी कर लिया, अपनी आदात बदल ली, अपनी किताबों में तारीफ़ें कर लीं, लेकिन अल्लाह के फ़ضल से मुसलमानों का रमज़ान वो है जो 1400 साल से हज़रत अक़दस मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की हिदायत किताबें जारी।
रबी साहब, आपने बड़ा ही अच्छा पहलू बयान किया कि रमज़ान एक रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स की तरह है, ये एक रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स है हमारे लिए। जब हम रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स को सोचते हैं तो देखते हैं कि जो उसको प्रेजेंट कर रहा है या जो उसको बयान कर रहा है वो एक आला मेयार का बंदा होना चाहिए, और खुदा ताला के फज़ल से इस्लाम में रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से बढ़ के तो कोई नहीं। तो अगर आप ये बताएं कि उनके शब रोज़ रमज़ान के कैसे गुजरते थे ताकि हम उससे इस्तिफ़ादा हासिल कर सकें।
जी, रमज़ान जो रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स है, इसके बानी तो हज़रत अक़दस मोहम्मद मुस्तफ़ा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम हैं, और आपकी तो रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी भी इतनी भरपूर थी रूहानियत में कि सारा दिन की 5 नमाज़ें, नवाफिल, तहज्जुद, इबादत, खिदमत खल्क़, ताज़ा वही अल्लाह ताला की नाज़िल हो रही है, वो लोगों को सुना रहे हैं, लोगों की तरबियत कर रहे हैं। इसके बावजूद रमज़ान में आप उसी इबादत को और ज़्यादा बढ़ा देते थे अपनी कमियत और कैफियत में, और सहाबा ये महसूस करते थे और उनके ये तसुर था कि रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम हमारे दरमियान को इस तरह फिर रहे हैं जैसे तेज़ हवाएं आपको उड़ाते हुए फिर रही हैं। तो रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के वो जो एक ज़ौजा मुतहरा हैं, वो फरमाती हैं कि रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के जो तहज्जुद हैं उनका ना पूछो कितने लंबे होते थे और कितने खूबसूरत होते
कितने खूबसूरत।
तो रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने वो तमाम नबियों से जो विरसा चला आ रहा था रमज़ान का, उसको कमाल तक पहुँचा दिया, अपनी ज़ाहिरी शक्ल सूरत में भी और अपनी बातनी शक्ल सूरत में।
रबी साहब, हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के शब रोज़ जानने के बाद ये अंदाज़ा होता है कि किस तरह उन्होंने हमें भी और अपने सहाबा को भी ट्रेन किया। अब वो एक कामिल उस्ताद वहाँ मौजूद था, ये बताइए कि उनके साथ जो लोग थे, जो कंपेनियन हैं, जो सहाबा इकराम हैं, वो अपने शब रोज़ कैसे गुजारा करते थे?
मैं उस कामिल उस्ताद के साथ उस मेहमान का भी जिक्र करना चाहता हूँ जो हर रमज़ान में हर रात रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का मेहमान हुआ करता था, और वो जिब्रील अमीन थे। आदेश से पता लगता है कि जिब्रील हर रमज़ान की हर रात में रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के पास हाजिर होते और उस वक्त तक जितना कुरान नाज़िल हो चुका होता था उसकी रिवीजन करते थे। उसके दो फ़ायदे होते थे। एक तो रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का वही रिफ्रेशर कोर्स में हाफसा ताज़ा हो जाता था,
जी जी
और दूसरा ये कि कुरान चूँकि मुख्तलिफ सूरतें नाज़िल हो रही थी, कभी कोई आयत, कभी किसी सूरत की कोई आयत, मौजूदा सूरत तो नहीं थी, तो वो सारे के सारे उसकी तरतीब जो रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम साथ साथ लोगों को बताते रहते थे, वह एक इज्तिमाई शक्ल में महफूज होता जाता था। और उसके नतीजे में रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के अंदर जो जिब्रीली तजल्लियात, आसमान से उतरने वाला नूर नाज़िल हो रहा था, वो सहाबा में मुंतकिल हो रहा था। अब वाक़या यह देखें कि रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने रमज़ान की एक रात मस्जिद में आकर नवाफिल पढ़ने शुरू किया, साथ ही मस्जिद थी। कुछ सहाबा ने देखा तो वो साथ आकर खड़े हो गए, रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने बुलंद आवाज़ से तिलावत शुरू कर दी, अकेले पहले पढ़ रहे थे। अगली रात लोगों को पता लगा कि रसूल करीम ने इस तरह तहज्जुद पढ़ाई है, तो अगली रात कुछ और लोग आ गए, अगली रात कुछ और लोग आए, यहाँ तक कि मस्जिद भर गई, छलकने लगी। तो रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने अगले दिन बाहर आना गवारा नहीं फरमाया और लोगों को बताया कि मैं इसलिए नहीं आया कि तुम इसे फ़र्ज ना समझ लो। इससे पता लगता है कि रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की इस नमाज तहज्जुद जो रमज़ान में पढ़ रहे थे, उसके पीछे लोगों को इक्तदा करने का कितना शौक़ था। और रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की यही नमाज तहज्जुद जो थी, यह बाद में तरावी की बुनियाद बनी, और उसी तरावी के नतीजे में हिफ्ज़ कुरान का एक लंबा सिलसिला वजूद में आया, और अल्लाह के फजल से आज हज़ार हाफिज़ हर मुल्क में मौजूद
हैं। आपकी बातों से और जिस तरीके से आपने एक्सप्लेन किया, ये पता चलता है कि रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने एक माहौल वहाँ पे बना दिया ताकि सहाबा उसी को फॉलो करें, उसी रास्ते पे चलें, और उसी के नतीजे में अब हर जगह पे रमज़ान में पूरे कुरान करीम का एक दौर मुकम्मल करने की कोशिश की जाती है। सहाबा की ज़िंदगी के कुछ वाक़यात
एक तो वही बात है कि रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने तहज्जुद पढ़ाई, फिर इसी के बाद हज़रत उमर के ज़माने में हज़रत उमर ने देखा कि लोग अकेले अकेले रमज़ान में नमाज तहज्जुद पढ़ रहे हैं, तो हज़रत उमर ने फरमाया कि क्यों ना मैं लोगों को इकट्ठा कर दूँ। एक इमाम के पीछे उन्हें इकट्ठा किया और इस तरह तरावी की बुनियाद पड़ी, और आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ये रवाज होना शुरू किया, जब कुरान पढ़ना ही है, जब तिलावत करनी है, रात तहज्जुद में खड़े होने, तो क्यों ना कुरान का दौर ख़त्म किया जाए। चुनाचे फिर कुरान का दौर ख़त्म किया गया। फिर ख्याल आया लोगों को कि अच्छा 30 दिन में रोज़ाना एक पारा पढ़ना, तो क्यों ना कुरान को 30 पारों में तकसीम कर दिया जाए। वो कुरान तो एक ही था, उसके फिर 30 टुकड़े किए गए, यानी निशान लगा दिए गए, और 30 पारों में वजूद में आया। फिर इसी तरह रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने सहाबा को रोज़ों की ऐसी आदत डाल दी कि वो सारे साल पर उन्होंने फैला दिया और नफली रोज़ों की तरफ मुंतकिल हो।
नफली रोज़े भी जी,
चुनांचे रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम खुद भी कसरत के साथ नफली रोज़े रखते थे। मतलब हदीसों में आता सबसे ज़्यादा आप शबान में रोज़े रखते थे, फिर आपने शवाल में रोज़े रखने की तारीख की, फिर आपने फरमाया हर महीने चाँद की 13, 14, 15 को रोज़े रखो। फिर कभी फरमाया कि रमज़ान की 11, 12, 13 हर महीने की 11, 12, 13 चाँद की तारीख को रोज़े रखो। कभी महीने के आगाज़ में, कई महीने के अख्ताम में कसरत के साथ रोज़े रखने की आदत डाली, और यही सहाबा की आदत बन गई। और ख़ास तौर पर रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की इस वफ़ात के बाद बाद सहाबा तो ऐसे थे कि वो मुसलसल रोज़े से रहते थे, और उनके घर में धुआं दिन में जलने का मतलब ये होता था कि उनके घर को मेहमान आया और कोई बात नहीं, वो रोज़े से ही रहते।
जज़ाकल्लाह रब्बी साहब, आपसे जो गुफ्तगू रही बहुत सैर हासिल थी। अब हम देखते हैं कि मेरे को होस्ट क्या कर रहे हैं। फ़ारूक साहब, क्या हो रहा है, क्या स्टेटस है एम्पनादास का?
We're in the kitchen and we're with the chef Ramel again. I think he's about to pull the empanadas out of the oven. So we're just waiting for him to bring it, and then he's gonna.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
Wow.
Nice and golden. You know exactly what you're looking for. That nice crust on it. I put a little egg wash to get that little bit of shine to it. Now, what we have here is a little bit of sriracha mayo.
Okay.
Okay. As you can see, all that beautiful orange color.
Yeah.
Want to place it on there, and just drag it across.
Perfect.
Place our empanadas. Now, this is the one that was nicely done.
Perfect.
And then this is, believe it or not, this is the one I did.
That's the handmade.
That's
one.
a handmade one. So it still looks nice,
Yeah.
right?
I prefer the one that's made with the hand.
With the hand, because it's a little bit more love,
exactly,
right? There
exactly.
you go.
So,
But,
chef, sorry to interrupt
Go
you,
ahead.
but this is one type of sauce. How else can we enjoy
no,
empanadas?
now it's up to you what you want to do. You're in the kitchen. It's your cooking show.
Okay.
Not mine.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
unless you call me and tell me to come over. So if you want to, you could put a barbecue sauce on the side there. You could put something smoky. You could put a curry as well too.
Nice.
It's up to you what you want to do.
Okay.
Now remember, this is just steak or beef and cheese. But
Yeah.
if you want to do chicken, if you want to do seafood, like the one that my friend does, he does a pulled, slow roasted beef short rib.
Okay.
Which is incredible.
Okay.
You know, so it's really up to you what you want to place into that.
Okay.
It's just like your samosas. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
my favorite samosa that I ever had was a tandoori chicken samosa. It was incredible.
So I guess it's a little bit, you know, there's a lot of versatility in this dish.
Absolutely.
And you can play around with it however you like. So again, you know, we really appreciate that you came and you showed it to us. Dar Saab, what do you think about the dish? You can see it.
फ़ारूक साहब, वो बात वैसे ही है कि जैसे हमने जिक्र किया था पहले कि समोसे की तरह का लग रहा है, तो ये तो समोसे से बहुत मिलता जुलता है और साथ लग रहा है कि चटनी डाली हुई है और समोसा चटनी के साथ खाएंगे तो ये बहुत लजीज होगा। और अगर इंग्रेडिएंट्स भी देखें तो वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा मुख्तलिफ नहीं हैं। जिस तरह शेफ़ ने भी जिक्र किया कि इस तरह के समोसे भी होते हैं जिसमें कीमा डला होता है, तो ये काफ़ी मिलती जुलती चीज़ लग रही है। नाज़रीन, अब हम एक रिपोर्ट देखेंगे जो हमारे ब्यूरो ने तैयार की है।
Mental health, a big topic in the world right now. As going through Ramadan, I was wondering, what is the correlation between mental health and Ramadan? I have Uzair Bhai here with me today, who works for a mental health organization as a counselor. And if you can just tell me more about it, the correlation between mental health and Ramadan.
Yeah, for sure. I think the concept of fasting and the link between fasting and mental health, it goes beyond even what Islam offers, right? And we find that in various religions across the world, and even outside of religion. You know, there's a famous quote by the Greek philosopher Plato, where he said that I fast for greater physical and mental efficiency.
Right.
So since time immemorial, people have, through their personal experience, noticed that there is a direct benefit to their mental well-being through fasting. And Islam essentially formalizes that into a regimen through the month of Ramadan.
What else benefits our mental health during Ramadan?
So there's been studies that have shown that people who hold grudges, you can find actual biological markers of that within their body, right? So people who hold grudges, they don't practice forgiveness. They have increased levels of inflammation in their body and even increased levels of the stress hormone cortisol. And those same people, if they do practice forgiveness, they'll see a marked reduction in both of those two variables, inflammation as well as the stress hormone.
Right.
So I think it's just quite fascinating because, you know, people usually think of mental health and physical health as distinct, but your mental well-being is so vital that, you know, if it's not in good condition, you can find literal markers of it within your own bloodstream, right? So from this, we understand just how important forgiveness is. And usually you think of forgiveness as being important, you know, that it makes somebody else's life easier. If you forgive somebody else, it makes, you know, life easier for them. But it is genuinely good for your own mental and physical well-being. And this is just fascinating because, you know, Islam, as well as every other major religion, emphasizes the beauty and importance of forgiveness.
Right.
And today, modern science is uncovering, you know, clear evidence that there's direct benefit to your personal well-being through practicing this. So it makes complete sense that Allah Ta'ala has dedicated an entire 1/3 of the most important month of the entire year to just this concept of forgiving others, forgiving yourself, and asking Allah Ta'ala for sincere forgiveness.
Right. No, that I didn't know that they can leave actual mark inside your body if you don't forgive somebody, you hold a grudge. That's something new I'm hearing. Really appreciate you telling me that. Uzaiba, you mentioned some amazing things about Ramadan and mental health benefits. I sure learned a lot. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah.
Audience, we are nearing the end of this episode of Nashr-e-Ramadhan. Dar Saab, we had a really, really interesting program today. What was sort of the highlight for you in today's program?
जी फ़ारूक साहब, बहुत सारी चीज़ें थी आज के प्रोग्राम में जो कवर हुई, लेकिन अगर मैं नज़र दौड़ाऊँ तो मुझे लगता है कि जो रसूल करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का रमज़ान गुजारने का तरीका था वो मेरे दिल को बहुत करीब है। और साथ साथ एक चीज़ जो बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हाईलाइट हुई आज के प्रोग्राम में, वो मुकर्रम अब्दुल समी खान साहब ने हाईलाइट की कि रमज़ान एक तर्ज का एक रिफ़्रेशर कोर्स है जिससे हमें सबक सीखना चाहिए, इसको साथ लेके चलना चाहिए और अपने दिल के अंदर खुदा ताला का कुर्ब हासिल करने की कोशिश करते रहना चाहिए पूरे साल में। आप बताइए कि आपको आज का प्रोग्राम कैसा लगा?
You know, Dar Saab, for me, obviously, there's no greater and more beloved example than the example of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And especially for us as Ahmadis, he's the person that we hold most dear in our hearts. And so tying that in with another segment of today's episode, which was the daily schedule, right? Where we can sort of create blocks in our day. And I think I'm going to take that with me and sort of try to make sure that my life becomes more productive in this Ramadan so that I can make the rest of the year more, more productive as well. And so, dear audience, again, this brings us to the end of this episode of Nashr-e-Ramadhan being shown to you by MTA International Canada Studios. We'll see you in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.